Before coming to Goodwill, my life was pretty much out of balance. I mean, I think my biggest obstacle in keeping employment was pretty much a pursuit for immediate gratification as far as finances went. But that became a problem because I had a family of 5 to take care of, and with all of that on my plate, I knew I had to make a decision. I knew I had to do something fast because they were all pretty much dependent on me. So I made a decision, and unfortunately, that decision ended me up in federal prison for 6 years of my life. I ended up taking a program while I was in prison, which was called the Residential Drug Abuse Program. And what they did was challenge you to take a look at yourself and really determine why you made the decisions and the choices you made while you were out on the street, why you wasn't positive and productive, why you pretty much leaned toward the negative aspects of life. As I worked the program, I began to get so deep into it that they promoted me to what was a senior guide. And that was my first feeling of accomplishment, my first feeling of really feeling good about myself and that I was doing something positive with myself and I was on the right track. So I kept with that attitude and I pushed forward, and upon my release, they sent me to the Second Chance Halfway House in Waco. And at the Second Chance Halfway House, I was given 21 days to find employment or I was going to be violated. I got out day by day and worked the city of Waco over, basically trying to find a job, and doors were constantly closing in my face, but it's still, I knew I had to do it, so I kept pushing forward, I kept persevering, and I come in, it's like 3 o'clock, and I hear the counselors in the office talking about 2 positions being open at Goodwill. So at the time, they had 2 guys in there, so I'm like, oh man, that's another miss for me, but something inside just said, go ask, can you go too? So I went in the office, I asked if I could go down with those guys, and they were like, sure, why not? Who knows, maybe they'll have another position. I went down and we met with Gabby, and she calls me into the office and we're basically having the interview, and Kevin comes in. He talked to me, he asked me, why should Goodwill hire me? I pretty much explained what I'd been through, the choices I made, and the fact that I really did want to redeem myself for the mistakes I had made. And that I understood that it would be taking a chance hiring me, but that I wouldn't let him down. So he said he was going to give me a chance, and he was going to set me up in the East Waco location as a donation attendant. And I didn't have a clue what that meant, but I was like, okay, I'll take it, whatever it was. And I went back, I told the halfway house people what was going on, and they were like, okay, but I didn't have transportation. So it was like a 2-mile walk there and a 2-mile walk back daily. I kept pushing, and I would do this day in and day out, and child support was on my back, so they were taking a portion, the halfway house was taking a portion. So every 2 weeks I basically got $75, and it was beating me down, but I knew this was my chance. This was like fate testing me to see if I would hold true to my word. And I stuck with it for 3 months. I'd walk those 2 miles there and back every day and work for basically $75 every 2 weeks. And with that, the counselors saw my dedication to trying to change and work and be productive. So they turned my 6-month term in the halfway house into a 3-month term if I could get employment in the city where I was from, which is Killeen. I called Cece and she was on her vacation, but she still answered and she spoke to me and she told me she was on vacation, call her back in a couple of days and we would talk. So we had the conversation. I came in, we had the conversation, and she told me that there was a position open here for the bail machine. And I had never done a bail machine, but I would take it because I could learn and I was willing to learn. So she hired me, and for the first, I'd say 3 or 4 months, I worked the bail machine and trying my best to prove that I deserved to be here and I deserved the chance and that I appreciated the chance. After, like I said, a few months, they told me about a position open at the donation door and that there would be a pay increase and all this. And, instantly the pay increase sounded good, but I remembered my old habits of always chasing money. So I was like, I wasn't really too sure about taking the job, but I knew that if they offered it, they felt that it would be a good position for me. So I decided to take the job, and I really feel like it was the best decision I could have ever made, because working at the donation door is not just about taking people's merchandise and property and stuff like that. You meet people and their stories behind just about everything that comes through that door. It's been an all-out rewarding experience choosing to work at Goodwill and to stay at Goodwill, because I've had other offers and things. They weren't as family oriented, they weren't as dedicated. I mean, it's just, you could feel the environment wasn't the same. After working here at Goodwill for about a year and a half, I was pretty much a full-time employee. I received news that the hours would be cut from full-time to part-time hours, and it was like after a week of me pretty much being worried out of my mind on what I was going to do, how I was going to pay my rent, how I was going to pay my car note, and all these bills that I had accumulated based on making a certain amount of money. I got called into the HR office at Goodwill, where Danielle told me that she knew a position that I'd possibly be good for based on my skill set. So, I told her I would be willing to do anything to get that job. I wanted to do what was right. If she could give me the information so I could apply, I would really appreciate it.
When Willie first came to us in 2012, he came with a desire to succeed. Willie's down-to-earth and positive attitude allowed him to quickly build an excellent rapport with his fellow coworkers, our clients, and our donor base. Willie's unwavering commitment to serving our community, his honesty, and his compassion has made him an integral part of our team. We are proud of the strides that Willie has made during his time with Goodwill and the inspiration he invokes in everyone he encounters.
I set up an interview with the owner, and he told me to come in that following week. So I went in that next week and I told him my situation, that I was working at Goodwill as a full-time employee and they just cut the hours, and I basically didn't know what I was going to do. So he told me that he had a summer program going on, that he hired people for summer work, but he wasn't sure that it would be a full-time position available after the summer. So I took that as a blessing, like, take what I have now and a door would open for me later, just show my gratitude and push forward. And so I accepted the position and I went in and I talked to Steven and let him know that I was taking another job, and that if it was any way possible, we could some kind of way work out the two schedules to where I could keep both jobs. So Steven and the owner of the H Movement, actually, they started communicating. They actually coordinated the perfect schedule for me to where I could work there in the mornings and work here in the afternoon as a donation attendant and close up. So the owner at H Movement, he was, from day one, he was understanding about my situation. He understood about me still being on supervised release. He understood there would be days I had to go report. He understood there'd be times that I had to leave early to come to Goodwill. And they've both been, great. It helped me to stay focused and to keep going forward one step at a time until that position actually moved over into a full-time position. And I became a warehouse manager. He asked me if I wanted the position, that the guy that was doing it was about to leave, so if I wanted it, I could have it. It's like, I'm positive, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to do this. I'm looking forward to going to work. I come home at night, I'm feeling accomplished. I can sleep easy. It's been a wonderful experience. It's like I said, at times it's tough, but it's been a wonderful experience. Receiving this award to me, it means a lot, because day to day you wake up and you go through life, and I'm going to work, I'm going to school, but never did I stop to take a moment to think that, hey, there's somebody out there that can understand and appreciate the trials and tribulations that I'm going through to turn my life around. So to have somebody come to me and say, hey, I feel like you deserve this award for the things that you're doing, it means the world to me. It means that all my work isn't in vain, that there's somebody out there that actually cares about me doing better with my life. There's somebody that actually wants to see me succeed. And it feels great to know that it comes from people that I work with on a daily basis that I don't even know are watching. And they've actually taken the time to pay attention to my story, to actually look at what I've overcome to get to this point. So, it means a great deal to me to receive this award, and I really appreciate it, and I'm honored that they would take the time and the effort to basically show their appreciation for what I'm going through and what I've done.